Hello everyone and welcome back to exercise number 36 of the SolidWorks basic tutorial series. In this video, we're going to be designing a double flanged mounting bracket. Now, as always, in designing this part within SolidWorks, we're going to be using many of the SolidWorks features, namely the extrude boss base feature and extrude cut feature. But also for this component, we're going to be using the mirror tool very heavily, as we will see later on in this tutorial. Here we see the schematic drawing for exercise number 36. All dimensions, of course, are in millimeters. We have the isometric view and the trimetric view. The trimetric view was added so that we can see the component at a different angle. We have the top view, the front view, and the side view, along with the detail view showcasing the full dimensions for the counterbore hole for the component. And of course, we have a question here that reads, what is the mass of this part in grams with a tolerance of plus or minus 1 gram? And it says here that we should use a material, and the material that we should use is ASI 1020 steel, okay? So by the end of this video, we should determine the mass of this part after assigning a material of ASI 1020 steel. So looking at the component here, specifically the isometric view, we see that we have a number of features. The main feature being the base plate for the component. We have 4 chamfers at each edge. We have 4 counterbore holes. Here at the top, you can see them very clearly. We have 3 mounting holes that lie along the y-axis for the component. We have 4 ribs, 4 on each side actually, 8 in total. And we have a partitioning wall, 2 partitioning wall basically dividing the component in half. So yeah, modeling this within SolidWorks, we can perform this a number of different steps. But again, the easiest way is to follow a feature-based approach. So we go step by step according to the number of features that we have for the component. And of course, the tools that we're going to use are nothing but the standard extrude boss base tool, the extrude cut tool, but also we're going to be using many of the mirror tools into creating the 2D sketches as well as the 3D bodies. Because again, like I said previously, we have symmetry for the component along the y-axis. So it's sufficient that we only model one half and then use a mirror tool to basically copy it to the other side. All right? So with that aside, let's get started with exercise number 36. Okay, so we start by creating a new SolidWorks part. We set the background to plain white, and we copy exercise number 36 into SolidWorks. All right, so as I said previously, step 1 here involves creating the base plate for the component, and I need to remind you here that we have symmetry for the component along the y-axis and along the x-axis, right? So it makes sense that the origin of the component should lie right about the middle right here. Also, it's sufficient that we only draw 1/4 of the base profile, and then we're going to use the mirrors tools to basically create the complete base profile. So to start, select top plane, sketch, select line tool, and starting from the origin here, let's sketch out 1/4 of the base plate, okay? Now, select the Smart Dimension tool, and looking at the figure here, we see that the overall length for the base plate is 140 millimeters. So half of it should be 70, right? 70 millimeters. Likewise, the overall width of the component is 120. So this should be 60. Furthermore, we have the length of this top edge here, half of it should be 45. So the length of this edge should be 45. And the horizontal distance from this point to this point here should be 15. By default, it's already 15. While the horizontal distance from this point to this point should be 26. Why 26? Because here we can see that the overall length of the component is 140. And here we see that the length from this point to this point is 88. So 140 minus 88 divided by 2 gives you 26. Okay. So that now fully defines the sketch for this profile. Now let's select the Mirror Entities tool. Here it's going to ask you for the entities to mirror. Go ahead and select these lines. Mirror about this vertical line. And then select OK. Repeat the Mirror Entities feature again. Select these lines here. Mirror about this horizontal line. And then select OK. Now we can just simply select the Trim Entities tool and delete any extra lines here. Select OK. Now we're ready to extrude this profile, so press S on your keyboard, select Extrude Boss Base, and from the figure here, we're going to extrude the base plate to a thickness of 12 millimeters, okay? So the thickness of this plate should be 12 millimeters. Now we're going to work on creating this slot at the bottom for the base plates. So go ahead and select this face, sketch, select center, or actually select corner rectangle, and from this edge here, let's draw a corner rectangle. We're going to centralize this rectangle with respect to the origin, so basically just select this midpoint and this origin and set the relation as vertical. All right? Looking at the figure here, we see the dimensions are 40 by 5 millimeters. So the length of this top edge should be 40 millimeters. And the length of this edge should be 5 millimeters. Now press S on your keyboard, extrude cut, and we're going to cut this all the way through to the other side. All right. So that creates the base plate for the components. Of course, we haven't discussed the creating the counterbore features. We're going to work on that later on. But for now, we're going to move on to the next step, which is to create this reinforced wall here for the component. Again, I need to remind you that we have symmetry for the component along the y-axis. So whatever we have here, we have an identical version on the other side. So we work on one side, and we're going to use the mirror feature to create on the other side, all right? So select this face, sketch, select corner rectangle again, and let's go ahead and draw a corner rectangle, okay? Select Smart Dimension, and we can see here that the distance from this top edge to this bottom edge should be 40 millimeters. Again, this is according to the figure. All right. And what else do we have? The thickness. This edge should be 38.4 minus 29 divided by 2. Okay, so the logic here is that we have 38.4 minus 29 gives you the length of these two sides, and since there's symmetry, we divide by 2, we get the length of 1/2. All right, so now we see here that the distance between the origin here and this edge should be 29 divided by 2. Now we're ready to extrude. Press S on your keyboard, extrude boss base, set the end condition as up to surface, and then select this back surface right here. And then select OK. So that creates one of the walls. Now we're going to work on creating the ribs for the component. Again, we see here that we have 4 ribs. The 2 central ribs have larger thickness, whereas the 2 ribs at the extremes have a thinner thickness. Here we can see that we have a thickness of 5 for the 2 ribs at the extremes, and we have a thickness of 7.9 for central ribs. So let's first of all work on creating this the rib here at the extreme. So select this face, sketch, and from the figure here, we just simply connect this point all the way to this vertex right here, and then just close off the sketch. All right, go to features now, extrude boss base, and set the end condition to blind, reverse direction, and we're going to set the thickness to 5 millimeters. Again, this is according to the figure here. We see that the thickness of the ribs here at the extremes should be 5 millimeters. And then select OK. All right. Now we're going to mirror this rib to the other side. So simply just select the mirror tool. Here it's going to ask us for the plane of face you want to mirror along. Let's go ahead and select the front plane. And we see here that the front plane basically divides the component in half. As for the features that you want to mirror, just go ahead and select this face, and then select OK. All right. Now we want to create this central rib. So we're going to use the offset extrude tool. Basically select the front plane, sketch. We're going to sketch out the profile of this rib. which pretty much coincides with the profile of the ribs at the extremes. Select your features, extrude boss base. And we want to extrude this, of course, to a thickness of 7.9. So we'll go ahead and assign it an extrusion thickness of 7.9 millimeters. But we don't want to extrude from the starting from the sketch here. We want to extrude starting from an offset distance. And we see here that we should extrude from a distance of 35.2 divided by 2. So we'll go ahead and select offset. And this should be 35.2 divided by 2. All right, and then select OK. Now we need to mirror this to the other side. So just select the mirror tool again. Select the front plane. As for the features, just select this face and then select OK. All right, so that creates the ribs for the component. Now we want to work on creating the holes for the walls here. We have these two holes at the walls. So select this face, sketch, select circle, and let's draw a single circle here. All right. Looking at the figure, we see that the distance between the origin and center of this circle should be 50 millimeters. Why 50 millimeters? Because the overall distance between the center of this circle and this circle is 50. That is 100. Half of it should be 50. All right. And the distance, the vertical distance between the center of this circle and this bottom edge should be 28.7. Okay, so then now that fully defines the position, the X and Y position for the circle. Just need to define the diameter of the circle. And we see here that we have 4 holes, and each hole should have a diameter of 11.2. So I'll assign a diameter of 11.2 millimeters. Simply mirror this to the other side. So go ahead and select center line, and we're going to draw a vertical center line starting from the origin here. Select mirror entities, select the circle, mirror about this vertical line that I just created, then select OK. All right. Now press S on your keyboard, extrude cut, and then select OK. All right, so now we want to create the counterbore holes for the base plate. So let's select this top piece, sketch. Again, we can use the hole wizard tool, but we're just going to use the more simpler method of just performing the extrude cut operation twice. So select circle, and let's draw a circle at any point here. Select smart dimension, and the distance here between this origin and the center of the circle should be 44 millimeters. And yeah, the distance between the center of this circle and this origin should be 84 divided by 2, okay, which is 42. Now we need to define the diameter of this larger circle, and here we can see that the diameter for the larger hole, for the counterbore feature, should be 12.25. So the diameter of this circle should be 12.25 millimeters. All right. So now just simply mirror this to the other side. Draw a horizontal center line. Select the mirror entities tool. Select the circle and mirror about this horizontal line, and then select OK. All right. Press S on your keyboard, extrude cut. And here we're going to cut this to a depth of 3 millimeters. So go ahead and assign a cut depth of 3 millimeters. And then select OK. Now we want to create the hole here going all the way through the component. So select this space, sketch, draw a circle, starting from this point here. The diameter of this hole should be 5.73. So the diameter here should be 5.73 millimeters. Press S on your keyboard, or actually, yeah, press S on your keyboard. Let's drag this arrow all the way to the other side and then select OK. And we can mirror this hole to this side here by simply selecting the mirror tool again. Select the front plane and then select OK. All right, so that creates the counterbore feature for the component. We have a fillet radius at certain edges. Here we see that we have a fillet radius of 4 millimeters. Also, we have a fillet radius up top here of 4 millimeters as well. So go ahead and select the fillet tool, assign a fillet radius of 4 millimeters, and then select these edges right here. 1, 2, and 3. Furthermore, we're going to select this edge and the opposite edge as well. Then select OK. All right. So yeah, I think that completes the features for whatever we have here on the left. Now we just simply mirror all of this to the other side. All right, to save time and effort. So let's go ahead and select the mirror tool. Here's an access for the face or plane you want to mirror along. Let's select the right plane. All right. And here's going to ask us for the features to mirror. So let's select each and every feature one by one. Let's select this partitioning wall, this rib. We have these ribs here at the extremes. This rib as well. We have a fillet. We have the holes here. I think that's all of it. We have this fillet here as well. And that's pretty much it. And then select OK. Oh yeah, we have the counterbore feature. We have to select that. Select this and this. All right. Now select OK. Okay. So now we want to create this relief opening here. So what do? We just simply select this face, sketch. Let's select 3-point arc, and let's draw an arc starting from this point. And let's drag this downwards. Okay, and let's set their condition as the relation between the center of this arc and the origin as vertical. Okay, so now they're vertically aligned. And from the figure here, we see that this arc should have a radius of 17.5. So select the Smart Dimension tool and assign a radius of 17.5 millimeters. All right, and we see also that we have a distance between this edge, this top edge, and this vertex here for this arc as 20 millimeters. So the distance between this point and this top edge should be 20 millimeters. All right, select the line tool and just close off this 2D profile here. Now press S on your keyboard, extrude cut, and we're going to sketch out or cut out this sketch that we just created all the way to the other side. Okay. Now we're going to work on creating these 3 mounting holes that lie along the y-axis of the component. So just simply select this face, sketch, select circle, and let's draw 3 circles. Again, just make sure that these 3 circles are aligned with respect to the origin. So 1, 2, and 3. Each of these circles have a diameter of 11.5. So select Smart Dimension and assign a diameter for each and every circle as 11.5 millimeters. 11.5, 11.5, and 11.5. This last circle here. Now we need to define certain dimensions here. We see that distance between this edge and the center of this circle as 15 millimeters. The distance between this circle and this circle should be 35 millimeters. And the distance between this circle at the top and this circle should be 75.8. All right, again, this is all according to the drawing here, okay? All dimensions here are defined. Now just simply press the S key on your keyboard, select Extrude Cut, and we're going to cut this all the way through the component, and then select OK. All right. Finally, we're going to create this insignia here, this text at the side of the components. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So simply select this face, sketch, Before we actually select the text tool, we're going to have to create a guideline for what where the text is going to be situated. So select center line, and let's draw a line here. All right, a center line. Let's align this center line, the center of the midpoint, with respect to the origin, and set relation as vertical. Okay, so now select the text tool here. Here's going to ask you for the curve or the line, the guide you want to have your text written on, and then select this line right here. And we can just write whatever you want. Here I'm going to write the name of this YouTube channel, Dr. Dr. CAD Tutorials. You can write your name or anything you want. All right, you can change the font of this text. Just let's make this bold here. You can change the font by simply clicking here. Let's make it a bit smaller. Let's make it 10. Let's centralize the text. All right, everything is okay, and then select OK. Now we've created the text, but we want to create a cut out of this. Okay, so we want to engrain this text into the material. So what do? We just right-click on the text, and then select Dissolve Sketch Text. And that will basically create a sketch out of the text that you just created, okay? Now you can just perform the standard extrude cut operations like we create a circle or square, whatever you just created. Press S on your keyboard, extrude cut. And we're going to cut this to a depth of 1 millimeter, all right? Again, this is up to you. You can add whatever text you want. You can add your name, your company name, your nationality, whatever you want to do. And then select OK. All right, so that creates an ingrained text for your component. So again, I need to remind you that the point of doing this was to determine the mass of the part in grams, right? And we need to use ASI 1020 steel. So let's go ahead and assign material for this component. Let's right-click here, edit material, set the material to ASI 1020 steel, apply, and close. Let's just apply a color to this component. As always, we're going to select the orange color, and let's select saturation as 135 for this component, and then select OK. All right, so now let's determine the mass of this part. So simply go to the Evaluate tab, select Mass Properties, and here we can see that the mass of this part, the final mass, is 1,680.36 grams. So the final answer is 1,680.36 grams. All right, let's go ahead and delete this image. And that concludes exercise number 36. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down in the comment section below. I hope to see you all in exercise number 37. Until I see you again, bye-bye.